What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be talking about All Might's impending death. Or rather, I will be talking about the fact that Sir Nightheye's quirk, Foresight, predicted that All Might would die a gruesome death at the hands of a villain. And this is set to happen sometime in the very near future. Just to be clear, All Might is not dead in the My Hero Academia story. And so in this video I will be focusing on Sir Nighteye's prediction and whether there is any chance for All Might to escape the dark fate that Sir Nighteye predicted. The answer may surprise you, so definitely stay tuned. Before we dive into it, I want to give a massive thank you to Crunchyroll for sponsoring this video. Crunchyroll is the world's largest destination for anime and manga, and I've been a paying customer for over 3 years. I use Crunchyroll on a daily basis to watch my favorite anime series like Black Clover, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, and many more. This season I am obviously watching Season 4 of My Hero Academia, which is being simulcast on Crunchyroll along with Dr. Stone, Fire Force, and other hit anime series. Crunchyroll also has a manga section, and that's where I go to read the latest chapters of the 7 Deadly Sins, Attack on Titan, and so on. Go to crunchyroll.com/AnimeUproar to get Crunchyroll Premium free for 14 days. You will get unlimited access to their anime, manga, and drama titles ad-free in 1080p HD. And that includes the newest anime episodes with professional subtitles. Check it out for yourself. Try out Crunchyroll ad-free for 14 days right now by signing up at crunchyroll.com/AnimeUproar, or just click that link in the description. That way you get great anime and manga content, you help support the anime industry, and you help support this channel at the same time. It's a win-win-win. Just sign up at crunchyroll.com/AnimeUproar or click that link in the description. Heads up, even though Sir Nighteye's prediction about All Might's death has already been revealed in the anime, so it is not a spoiler for anime-only fans. In this video, I will be drawing on some material from the manga that has not yet been covered in the anime. If you don't want to know any information beyond the anime, please proceed with caution, you have been warned. As soon as we first meet All Might in chapter 1 of the manga and episode 1 of the anime, there is some pretty clear foreboding about All Might's health and physical condition. In his true form, his small might form if you will, All Might, real name Toshinori Yagi, looks extremely frail and emaciated. He also has massive scars on the left side of his body, and he is shown spitting up blood. So, we the readers and viewers are being told right off the bat that All Might's health is fading and that he is not in a good physical condition. When we see this, our first instinct is to think that there is something seriously wrong with All Might's health and that he may not be around for too much longer. So, from Deku's words declaring that this is the story of how he became the greatest hero, to the fact that All Might is clearly well past his prime, it wouldn't be a stretch to assume that at some point All Might could potentially die, and Deku would then carry on All Might's legend as the next greatest hero. We later learn that All Might's severe injuries are the result of an epic battle that he fought against the arch-villain All for One. And even though All Might won that battle, he still suffered lasting injuries. This includes serious injuries to his stomach and respiratory tract, injuries that would be completely debilitating for a normal person, and injuries that are not going to just heal over time, at least not completely. Not long after that battle, All Might's then sidekick Sir Nighteye was worried about All Might. All Might was severely injured, but he still refused to retire, and he decided to keep risking his life on a daily basis in spite of his injuries. So, Sir Nighteye used his quirk Foresight to look into All Might's future, and what he saw rattled him. Sir Nighteye foresaw that 6 or 7 years into the future, All Might will meet a horrible end at the hands of an unspecified villain. It will be a death so terrible that it is too gruesome for Sir Nighteye to even describe it. Since all the predictions made by Sir Nighteye's quirk had always come to pass eventually, Sir Nighteye became convinced that All Might's recklessness would eventually lead to his death at the hands of a villain. It has already been about 6 years since that prediction was made, and if the prediction can be trusted, then All Might could be killed literally any day now. So, is it really possible that All Might, the legendary hero and inspiration to so many, could be killed off in the Boku no Hero story? Would Kohei Horikoshi really do something as drastic as that? To be honest, I think it's definitely possible. All Might has always been portrayed as pretty reckless. He often rushes into dangerous situations without any regard for his own safety because he prioritizes saving other people to keeping himself safe. All Might considers it his responsibility as a hero to help as many people as possible, and he is more than willing to put himself in danger in order to save someone else. Because of that, it isn't too hard to imagine a scenario in which All Might puts his own life at risk in order to protect someone from a villain. And since All Might is much weaker now than he used to be back in his prime, taking such risks could eventually cost him his life. All Might's heroic death at the hands of a villain, most likely either Shigaraki or maybe Dabi, would be heartbreaking for all the heroes and all the hero students. But it would also be a major motivator for them. If All Might were to be killed by a villain, Deku would be devastated, but eventually Deku would come to see All Might's tragic death as additional motivation to get even stronger and become an even greater hero. Deku would be determined to prevent such tragedies from ever happening again, and he would work even harder than ever before. If All Might were to die, it certainly wouldn't be the first time that we see a legendary mentor character die only to have his death inspire the main character to reach even greater heights. After a period of grieving and self-searching, of course. My favorite anime of all time is Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, so I definitely know a thing or two about this type of scenario. Therefore, I would say that it is definitely possible that All Might eventually die, and that this tragedy would then transform Deku into a more mature protagonist. I don't necessarily want this to happen. I kinda wanna see All Might hook up with Deku's mom, to be honest, but hey, that's just me. And if you're thinking, oh, but Deku has a dad, he's just traveling for work, I don't know about you, but Deku's dad sounds like the type of guy who would tell his wife and child that he was going out to the store to get some milk, and then never come back. Maybe I'm wrong, but at this point we know more about Toga's dad than we know about Deku's dad, which is saying a lot. With that said, it is still possible that All Might will not die in the Boku no Hero story. Sir Nightaye's prediction certainly suggests that he will, but the epic finale of the 8 Precepts arc gave us an important clue about Sir Nighteye's quirk and its limitations. During the final showdown between Overhaul and Deku, Sir Nighteye's quirk foresaw that Deku would be killed by Overhaul. However, we know that this did not happen. Instead, thanks to the help of Aries' quirk Rewind, Deku was able to defeat Overhaul and survive. This was the first time that Sir Nighteye realized that his quirk's predictions of the future were not absolute. In certain rare instances, the future can be changed. So, can this same logic be applied to All Might's death? Can the future be changed so that All Might doesn't actually die? Perhaps, but the problem is that we're not exactly sure why Deku was able to change the future. It's possible that he somehow did it just through the sheer power of his will, but it could also be that the real secret ingredient to changing the future was actually Eri. Eri's quirk is directly related to time. She is able to rewind the bodies of others to a previous state. It is possible that Eri's repeated rewinding of Deku's body during the fight against Overhaul messed with the time and altered the timeline itself. So without Eri, Deku would have died, but because Eri's quirk rewound Deku's body, it also changed the flow of time and changed Deku's destiny in the process. If this is the case, then All Might's death cannot be avoided unless Eri learns to control her quirk very soon. She is still learning to control it, and until she gains better control of her quirk, she is just as likely to hurt someone as she is to help them. But if Eri is the one who has to intervene in order to change All Might's tragic fate, then we have to remember that All Might could die any day now. The prediction was that he would die in 6 to 7 years, and it has already been over 6 years since the prediction was made. If Eri is the key to saving All Might, then Eri will need to have a major training arc very soon, otherwise All Might will be in serious danger. Especially now that the villains are getting stronger and stronger by the day. Shigaraki's quirk in particular has evolved to such an extent that the idea of him actually killing All Might is not nearly as far-fetched as it would have been at the beginning of the story. So, will All Might really die, or will he be saved and hopefully hook up with Deku's mom? With the way that the story has been going, especially in terms of the evolution of the hero society and the rise of the villains and the liberation front, if All Might were to be killed by, say, Shigaraki, this act would be extremely powerful and extremely symbolic from a narrative perspective. It would signal that the old era is gone, and that a new era full of chaos and uncertainty is here to stay. All Might's death would profoundly change all the important characters in the story, including of course Deku. And it would be extremely interesting to see how the story would develop after something as drastic as the death of All Might, the legendary symbol of peace. That said, with Deku's defeat of Overhaul, Horikoshi definitely left open the possibility that All Might could also change the future and survive, possibly with the help of Eri's quirk. This scenario in which All Might doesn't die would also be cool with me, and if he survives, then it will be possible for him to make sweet love to Deku's mom, so that would also be a win in my book. But let me know what you guys think. Is all the foreshadowing and foreboding about All Might's death going to lead to his violent end, which would lead to the beginning of a dark new era in the story? Or will All Might change his fate and stay alive beyond the 7 years that Sir Nighteye's quirk specified? Hit me up down in the comments and feel free to include your own reasons for why you think that one option or the other is more likely. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Boku no Hero content right here on the channel, please leave a like to let me know. And if you happen to be new to AnimeUproar, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar for all the latest Boku no Hero news and updates. Finally, don't forget to check out our sponsor, Crunchyroll. Just click that link in the description for a 14-day free trial. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.